This one is for my Black Widow fans and perhaps for those looking over their shoulder a little too often. From seduction to political schemes to saving the world and satisfying revenge, today we have a list of our top 10 most notorious female assassins in history. I'm your host Rachel Fisher, and get ready for one bloody history lesson. Coming in at number 10, I'm waiting for this one to be made in some kind of like epic sexy ancient Roman spy movie, because starting at number 10 we have Mistress Marcia. Mistress Marcia was responsible for the demise of Roman Emperor Commodus, but not only was she his assassin, she was also his most favored concubine. Talk about keeping your enemies closer, eh Marcia? Marcia Aurelius Gionia Demetrius, along with most of Rome, wasn't a fan of this great leader. He was arrogant, would kill off his officials randomly, and tried to rename Rome after himself. But Marcia was skilled at managing his temper and even convinced him to release the Christians sentenced to labor in the Sardinian mines. But in 192 AD, Commodus wanted to appear next to the gladiators instead of the traditional place all rulers took in the palace. Marcia tried to convince him how much that would offend Rome, but Commodus took that as a slight and instead of brushing it aside, condemned her to death the following morning. Overreaction. Enraged, Marcia leapt into action once she discovered his plan. It was typical of the mistress to feed the emperor wine after his bath every night, so she enlisted the help of two conspirators and poisoned the cup. Unfortunately, it only made him violently ill and not dead, so they paid an athlete to strangle him to death. Marcia then married her fellow slave and lover Eclectus before they were both caught and killed a year later for the crime. Still, took him a year to figure it out. Not bad, Marcia. Giulia Tofana. This next woman found a deadly way to help young maidens escape unwanted marriages. Back at a time when women had no social or financial protection if they did not have a man beside them, many young ladies were used as pawns to negotiate wealth and status for their families, even unwillingly. Which meant many had no protection should they be trapped in an abusive marriage, which is where our home ec assassin comes in. Born in Palermo, Italy, Giulia sold poisons that were effective in helping divorces come along by, let's say, natural causes. Though not much is known about the woman herself, Giulia would become one of the most famous hitwomen in history for providing a poison called aqua tofana. Disguised as a necessary tonic for women to use, the substance was a combination of arsenic, belladonna, and lead, all of which were actually found in makeup. Oops. Belladonna was used to expand the pupils so women would look more alluring, for example. But aqua tofana was the perfect tasteless and odorous concoction to pour into husband's end-of-the-day ale. She kept a steady business for 50 years, long enough to involve her daughter before she was discovered. One of her clients apparently had second thoughts before pouring her husband some soup, and that eventually revealed the scheme. Giulia killed over 600 men before the death of her and her accomplices. Coming in at number 8, Charlotte Corday, the assassin of Marat. If you paid attention in history class, you know how bloody and ruthless the French Revolution was. Heads flew everywhere, the prisons were filled with nobles, rioters filled the streets. Needless to say, it wasn't a great place to be, but Charlotte Corday had a mission. Charlotte was a passionate supporter of the revolution, even though its main conspirators were set on killing the likes of her. Charlotte was, after all, a noblewoman, though she opposed the reign of terror. There were two sides to the fray, the Girondists and the Jacobins, and Charlotte fought along the first. But the Jacobins were radical and tried to kill any and all oppositionists, the Girondists included, which is why Charlotte decided that Jean-Paul Marat, leader of the Jacobins and journalist, had to get the hell out. You gotta admire her gumption, man, because she just stormed in while this guy was taking a bath. She bought a knife, disguised herself as an informant, and went in to speak to him. At first she delivered on her offer and told him of escaped Girondins, but he had once said that they should be guillotined, so she whipped out her knife and ended his bath time once and for all. Corday knew she was going to be caught, however, and had told not even her family of her plans. Charlotte was guillotined on July 17, 1793, with her name attached to her dress so she would be recognized. She wrote in a letter explaining her actions, "I desire only that my head carried through Paris may be a rallying standard for all the friends of the law." That's commitment right there. Next up, at number 7, we have Idoia López Riaño, also known as La Tigresa, the Tigress. Man, wicked names. Make it so hard not to think they're bad. I mean, they killed people. That's bad. The Tigress was a leading commander in a deadly political group aimed at earning independence of the Basque region of Spain. The group was responsible for the death of 800 people in the years before it was disbanded in 2018. She was responsible for planting a bomb in the center of Madrid in 1986, killing 12 police officers. After killing 5 more police a year later, at aged 22, La Tigresa made it onto the most wanted list. But what's even more disturbing was her tendency to seduce the police she killed before the bombings took place, even killing their colleagues across multiple days. When she was finally caught in 1994, she accumulated a sentence of 2,000 years in prison. However, she was released only 23 years later after several apologies and quitting the ETA. She is now studying to be a journalist. Okay, makes you wonder, does that count as getting away with it? Coming in at number 6, Brigitte Mohnhaupt. Brigitte Mohnhaupt was known at one time for being the most evil woman in Germany. She killed over 9 people throughout her involvement in the West Germany far leftist terrorist group, the Red Army. In fact, she ran it. She became the head of the RAF after its 4 previous leaders were caught and committed suicide in jail. They orchestrated a reign of terror across West Germany in the 1970s, killing over 30 people, with Brigitte being responsible for 9. She was known for her extravagant murder attempts and her cold and calculating behavior. Once she even handed a bouquet of flowers before shooting them point blank in the face. She was finally arrested in 1982 and, like Riaño, was supposed to spend life in prison. But to the country's surprise and horror, Brigitte was released on parole in 2007 at the age of 57. Mohnhaupt has never shown remorse for any of her victims to this day, but she keeps a low profile. Next up at number 5, we have an assassin who continues to work to this day, but for the other side. Kim Hyuon-hui was just 19 when she was handpicked at her university to become a spy for the North Korean government. Her mission? To disrupt the Seoul Olympics in 1987 and show the world that South Korea was too dangerous to be a host. How? Well, after training for years as a spy, when Kim was just 25, she boarded a Boeing passenger plane and stored a bomb in the overhead compartment. Her and her assumed father got off at Abu Dhabi, but the bomb was detonated before it reached Seoul, killing 115 people. She says that her mission was personally assigned by Kim Jong II, and it was to help prevent South Korea from becoming more powerful than the North. She was brainwashed into thinking that this mission was for the sake of uniting Korea, and this was the very reason the president of South Korea pardoned her. Hyun-hui and her partner were intercepted and caught in Bahrain, but she didn't have time to use the cyanide like her partner did. She confessed after a week of interrogation. Today, she is married to a former South Korean spy and is the mother of 2 children. She is now trying to warn the world not to trust North Korea's current leader, Kim Jong-un. Due to the information she has shared, Hyun-hui thinks she's on the list to be assassinated next. Coming in at number 4, this is another one that needs to be a movie. Oh wait, it is, called Hidden Man. This is a tale of epic proportions of honor, struggle, but most importantly, for this video, vengeance. In 1911, China was in turmoil while many local warlords were trying to fight for power. Shi Qianqiao's father, who had fought in the wars leading to the fall of the empire before, was captured and killed by a rival warlord named Sun Chunfang. That day, his fate was sealed. She plotted for years and finally set the date for November 13th, 1935. After the warlord retired, he became a Buddhist at a temple in Tianjin, and she followed pistol in hand. Posed as a dedicated follower, she waited until everyone in the room had their eyes closed before she shot her father's killer. She then scattered letters and a photo of her father to assure everyone in the room that her task was complete and that she would not hurt any of them. The media caught wind of this assassination and swept up her name following words such as courageous, brave, and her case saw 3 trials before she was pardoned in 1936. I guess the public loves a good revenge story, but of course, who doesn't? That's why you're here. Coming in at number 3, we have La Tosca, another bad name lighting up the list. Maria López, also known as La Tosca, was caught after completing 20 murders by the time she reached only 26 years old. She was reportedly paid $1,700 a month by the infamous Mexican drug cartel Los Zeta to complete her hit list. Los Zeta are allegedly responsible for over 14 drug-selling hotspots in Monterrey and are currently battling the Gulf cartel for territory. Until her arrest in 2012, La Tosca was responsible for hitting rival traffickers and any police officers that got in the way. She's also accused of leading a criminal cell responsible for even more crimes, including torture and carjacking. Though she definitely isn't the only female assassin involved in the cartels, she's yet to be topped for number of kills. Coming in at number 2, we have Jeanette van Nessen. We cannot have a list of top 10 female assassins without talking about Jeanette van Nessen. But before we do, remember to tell us you like us by pressing that thumbs up button. Now, especially over COVID, many of us may now be familiar with freelance work, but hopefully not this kind. Jeanette worked as a freelance assassin charging 80,000 euros per hit. Most of her kills took place in South America, but unfortunately for her, she took one hit too far. She was hired by the Black September organization to kill an Israeli intelligence agent named Carl, which she did after she seduced him. him. But unbeknownst to her, as soon as she did, she put a target on her back. Abner Kaufman made it his own personal mission to take her down and eventually cornered her in her boathouse along with another agent. But she wasn't gonna go down that easy, and she slipped off her robe in an attempt to seduce Abner. But then the charade shattered when she reached for a gun. Bang bang, they shot her down and she died holding her cat. I just think that's great. If you want to see a dramatic presentation of this scene, just watch the film Munich, directed by Steven Spielberg. Coming in, last but not least, number 1, Freddie and Truus Oversteegen. Who says the best assassins work alone? No assassin I've met, that's for sure, mostly because I haven't met any. That I know of. Sister duo Freddie and Truus Oversteegen fought back against the German occupation during World War II and never revealed how many soldiers they killed. When the war was about to begin, their mother took in Jewish refugees and hid them in their house. Soon the two girls, then later along with their friend Hani, took a more deadly approach to resistance. Freddie joined the Dutch resistance when she was just 14, soon followed by Truus. In the 1940s, when the Netherlands were invaded, the three girls took on the role of ambushing and seducing SS soldiers and their Dutch collaborators straight to their death. Soon the teens began to take on shooting missions by themselves. In 1943 they met Hani, who dropped out of school when she refused to sign allegiance to Germany. All three of them became excellent shooters, but Hani was captured just 3 weeks before the war ended. Her last words apparently were, "I'm a better shot," when her executioner only wounded her. Both Truus and Freddie survived the war and both died at the age of 92 in 2016. It was only after their deaths that they received national recognition. After all is fair in love and war, and these two women helped fight a war that would haunt generations to come. Thank you so much for joining me with this deadly top 10. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and follow us for more, of course. Now, there's still one question that is left unanswered. Who is the best female assassin? I think even in this top 10 we didn't find her. In fact, no one knows. Only the assassin herself, because, after all, the best assassin never gets caught. I'm your host, Rachel Fisher, and I'll see you next time. Thank you! Oh, I fell off. I need someone to like pull me and like stretch me like a stretcher so I can like decompress, because you're like hunched over. I'm like, alright. Belladonna, get out of my face. Wow, can I just chill out? Okay. Ooh, Giulia. Okay. How to pronounce.
Girondice.
Okay, Girondice it is. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Coming in at number 6. Oh, Jude. Oh my god. Whew. Not breathing. Whew. I mean, I heard Landon said Voldemort wrong, so that makes me feel better. Lydia and I are next anyway, so. But she's late. Is she? No, she's here. She's perfect. I'm late. Rachel. Oh, look, she's late. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go. I was done. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Oh God. Okay.
I'm vibing.
All right. Okay.